You can also consider us crunchy because we are evolving rather than disappearing. We make noise, we speak up. Probably some people think that we are becoming invisible, but for sure we are louder because we found our voice and we are not afraid of telling what we think.
Welcome to the Midlife Reinvention podcast. I'm your host, Kavita, and the founder of Power Purpose Play, a global community of women in midlife. I'm here to tell you that it's your time now to rediscover what has always been inside of you and bring that out into the world. If you're wondering what's next, but don't know quite what that is, or if you feel a twinge in your heart telling you that you have so much more to do and so much more to offer, you're in the right place. Ask yourself, if not now, when? Do you want to leave your job, start your own business, take control of your health, reignite the passion in your marriage, write that book, or at least that first chapter? Transitions like this can be daunting, but through listening to my story and interviews with incredible women every week, I hope to inspire you to take action. I rediscovered myself after the age of 50, and I know you can too. It's my time now to help you do just that. I'm so excited you're here. Let's dive in. Hello, everyone, and I am so glad you've joined me today on this next episode of the Midlife Reinvention podcast. For those of you who are here for the first time, I'm welcome you to the podcast, and my name is Kavita Ahuja, and I'm the founder of Power Purpose Play. And we are a global community of women in midlife to help you really realize the great potential you have in this next stage of life. Every week I come on with guests who have inspiring stories of reinvention or who are helping other women to realize that it's really your time now to rediscover yourself. I had the opportunity to speak with this week's guest and found her story and her mission so aligns with mine that I just had to have her on. Not to mention, she's so full of life and energy. I think you really will love her. I'm so pleased to introduce Michela di Carlo to you today. Michela is a late bloomers advocate, and she is the founder of the digital lifestyle magazine crunchytales.com, which is dedicated to discerning and sassy women over 40. Michela is on a mission to reset the meaning of middle age, focusing her work on inspirational content to empower women feeling stuck in the second act of their life. As a former feature writer for the most influential Italian national newspaper, La Repubblica, Michela has an MA in Communication Studies from the University of Rome and has been nominated twice for the International Journalism Festival Award. She's also been in charge of several digital editorial projects, including international marketing campaigns. Her current magazine, crunchytales.com, is the first illustrated online magazine for discerning women over 40, with its mission to redefine midlife, one illustrated story at a time. So welcome to the Midlife Reinvention podcast, Michela. I'm so glad that you're here.
Oh, thank you for inviting me. Ciao to everyone.
Yes, you're calling in from Rome.
Yes, at the moment I'm in Rome. Yes.
Yes, we were just discussing about how things are over there. I mean, it looks like they're opening up a little bit with COVID. I'm so pleased to have you here. And as I said before, I just loved your story, and I have so many questions for you. But perhaps you could start and tell our audience, where did your journey start, and how did you become what you call a late bloomers advocate and the creator of Crunchy Tales?
Yes, thank you, Kavita. Well, I've been working as a lifestyle journalist for the past 30 years. So for me, launching a magazine wasn't a big challenge. What's still a big challenge is to redefine the idea of middle age, because there are still a lot of stereotypes and cliches to challenge. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, the society has this idea of middle-aged people, women in particular.
Yes.
We are much more than golf men's apple pies and cashmere cardigans. So yes, I want I wanted to help people to change their perception around middle age.
Mm-hmm.
We are much more than this, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And when after turning 45, first of all, I realized that there is a strong international movement of women over 40 who don't let age define them. Women who want to enjoy the second chapter of their life at their own terms. And so I thought, well, it's time for me to set up my own business after all these years. And also it's time for me to celebrate these women who are so brave, these women who are brave enough to turn the page.
Mm-hmm.
And so Crunchy Tales was born. I teamed up with other professionals I met along my career.
Mm-hmm.
And so we decided to change the narrative and inspire other women. And I think we are doing quite well.
Yes, I see that you are. That's fantastic. I was going to ask you what motivated you and why you think it's important to have a magazine dedicated to women over 40, but I think you kind of answered that.
Yeah, there are several interesting lifestyle magazines, but very, very few dedicated to midlife women. So I moved to the UK for several years working there, and I realized that there are magazines, but not focused on this new target.
Mm-hmm.
And so I thought, honestly, I couldn't find any magazine really able to represent me and my friends.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, there are some, but a bit old-fashioned.
Yes, yes.
So I said, no, let's do that.
Yes, that's so interesting you say that, because that's one of the reasons I created Power Purpose Play, because I myself, as I was going through the midlife, I guess, changes, I was looking around, I was looking for a support system. And I didn't really see a comprehensive support system. So similar to you, I thought, well, let's bring women together because we have so many common issues, right, that we face, that why not discuss these issues? Why not come together and motivate each other to get through these? And I see that you do it in a very fun way. So that's fantastic. And I think also I wanted to kind of turn the narrative around the midlife crisis.
Yeah.
And to redefine that term. And I wondered what you thought about that. Do you believe that midlife is a crisis, or how would you define it?
Well, it might be a crisis, but it could be also an opportunity. I mean, without a crisis, you can't start, you can't restart, you can't reboot your midlife.
Right.
So I think that, there might be a moment, there might be a time in which you might not feel really able to turn the page. But I do believe that if you don't allow yourself to go through this crisis, you will not be able to restart again. So first of all, I think that middle age is an opportunity, of course, because if you're still here,
yes.
So, I mean, why not to make the most of this time?
Right.
So, and also, if you are really motivated in your life, if you are busy in building your next chapter, the crisis probably that you are having, it could be a luxury. Do you understand what I mean? I don't have time for a crisis. I mean, yes, I might have a moment in which maybe I think I should have done better. I should have, I don't know, a time when I think about, I could have had some regrets, but that's all. I think it's important to move on. But until you won't face your problem, it's very difficult to do that.
Yes, I hear what you're saying. I think what I get from that is a crisis. It's kind of like almost a trigger, right? So these events that happen, whether you have children and they move away from home, or you have a health, you're going through menopause, or you've got relationship change or whatever. These are triggers that kind of make us rethink, how do we want to live the rest of our life?
Yes.
So I think that's exactly what it is. And it's, in my opinion, it is an opportunity. But you're right. You have to have these triggers or these crises, I guess, to
Yes.
make you realize that. And just along that line, you were talking about getting over these things that kind of stop us in our tracks. And we were talking about every week on this podcast, we talk about obstacles that we face, especially as women.
Yeah.
Maybe we can kind of talk about that because it kind of relates to what we were just talking about is, what kind of obstacles maybe did you face in your life? And how would you advise women to really look at those obstacles and face maybe their own internal critics or this thing called imposter syndrome or feeling that they're not enough? How do we get over those obstacles?
Usually here at Crunchy Tales, we say that we don't sell any formula for success. We don't sell any formula for success. We don't coach you. We don't want you to be different. We don't want to improve your life. Because I think that until you want ready to make the change, it doesn't matter how often people or your therapist or whoever tell you what to do. If you're not ready, you will not change. So I think that in order to overcome obstacles, sometimes you need to hit the bottom. Can I say that?
Yes.
Yes. So, and then maybe you can survive. You can restart again. Talking about imposter syndrome or a feeling you're not enough, usually come across like a very confident person, a very bold person. Of course, that doesn't mean that I didn't have problems or that I don't have obstacles to overcome. Actually, you always have obstacles in your journey if you are on a mission to improve yourself. And it's not a matter of overcoming your obstacles. I think that sometimes you try to do your best, but you also have to realize that not everything is in your own hands. Sometimes you have to think about the environment. You have to think about where you live. You have to think about the historic moment. And what helped me sometimes, it's we are often into this little narrow-minded way of thinking. Don't get me wrong. We just consider our situation, our local situation, where we are and what we are doing in this particular moment. But if we only would reconsider that what is valid here probably is not valid in the other side of the world, then probably it's easier to keep going on. What I mean is that sometimes what we see as failures probably are not seen like that, I don't know, in China, I don't know, I'm just thinking, right. Or in Brazil or in the States. I don't know what is good and valid or what is wrong here, the moment, for instance, in Italy.
Yes.
Doesn't mean that it's not good in another country. So sometimes I think that changing perception and probably even country might help. For instance, being a journalist is a very tough, difficult job, and especially in Italy. I don't know about you, I don't know about in Canada, but you have to be part of those inner circles to succeed. If you don't want to come to terms, if you don't want to compromise, then it's important to find other avenues.
Yes.
And well, for instance, I've been lucky enough to write for a very important newspaper. But after a while, I was in need of new challenges. And so I moved to the UK. And talking from a personal point of view, for instance, I don't know, but I found my husband very late in life. And I had to move country. So sometimes women say, oh my God, I can't succeed. I can't do this. I can't do that. I have a problem with my relationship. Sometimes we need just to change our perspective. Maybe things can't work here, can't work in this particular moment, but maybe in 2 years, 3 years, things might change and you might change. So the important is not to consider the problem as something that will be always like that. I don't know how to explain, but I don't understand why people usually tend to consider negativity like a long-term status.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't think that the change might be even positive.
Mm-hmm.
Do you understand what I mean?
I completely understand. I really love that perspective because what you said about expanding your perspective on life and not just being internal and thinking, oh, all my problems, and being negative about it. But if you open your mind up to the world and what are people experiencing in other parts of the world, and maybe your problems are not as great, or maybe there's something that it's not going to last forever. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, but also what you consider your worst parts of your personality. Maybe it's something that other people in another part of the world would love, or some skills that maybe in your own country or in your city or in your environment are not fully appreciated. Maybe somewhere else they will be. So, I mean, I think a bit of relativity, how would you call that? It's
yes,
might be good for helping us when we feel stuck.
Right. Perspective. Yes. And yeah, that's actually true. And one other thing that came to mind when you said that is that as women, and I don't know if you've seen this through your work, is we accomplish a lot. But we don't talk about it, or we don't celebrate our successes. And because, we think, oh, well, what do people say if we celebrate ourselves too much? And I think it's important for us as women to recognize and celebrate our achievements. I don't know what your thoughts are on that.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah, especially with a good ice cream. Or if you prefer a Prosecco. Yes. Well, here in Italy.
I love that. I love that.
Here in Italy, wherever we can, of course, COVID restriction permitted, we like celebrating every week.
Yes. As I mentioned to you when we talked, I love everything Italian, so I'm very jealous right now of where you are.
But maybe you can start to save up. So next time you will come over, for sure that you can spend as much as you want and you can enjoy Italy.
Oh, absolutely. Michela, I wanted to ask you just to kind of pitch a little bit. Why the interesting name, Crunchy Tales? That's such an interesting name for your magazine. Can you tell us a little bit about a background on that?
Of course, I play with words a bit. And so our claim is smart stories for midlife bloomers. So crunchy, as you know, means something crispy, something that makes a sharp noise. And that's what we want to do. We want to encourage women to speak up and say loud, we are not over the hill. So, So I think that it was a way, it's a way to inspire women to speak up, to be brave, to be
crunchy, to be loud. Yes.
Yeah. And you know what? There are several definitions nowadays for the contemporary midlife women. So some people call them perennials, other women call them late bloomers, other people call this generation Gen X or the elastic generation. So last time while I was giving an interview, I was giving a speech, a colleague defined a new woman, the crunchy woman. And that's really, I really like that. So, if you like, you can consider us perennials, but you can also consider us crunchy because we are evolving rather than disappearing. We make noise, we speak up. Probably some people think that we are becoming invisible, but for sure we are louder because we found our voice and we are not afraid of telling what we think.
That's fantastic. I love that story. I love the reasoning behind it. That's so great. That's so great. Also, I was wondering, it's the first illustrated magazine online, and I'm just wondering how you came up with that and how has that been perceived?
Yeah.
What was the reason for the illustrations?
Hi, my friend. Kavita here.
Do you often feel blocked from moving forward? We all feel that way at times. These are referred to as energy blocks. I've created a short, actionable PDF guide to help you release your negative energy blocks. Click the link in the description to download it now for free. Now, let's get back to the episode.
Well, I think that illustrations are capable of highlighting the playful and glamorous side of midlife more than pictures, and also a way to break free from the stereotypical idea of what women of a certain age are supposed to look like. So you see, more than illustrating a topic, we aim to create an atmosphere, inspiring women to think about midlife as a time of renaissance rather than a time of winding down. And through our illustrations, we want to embrace, we want to enhance our content, yes, but also show our readers that there is always another side of reality in disguise. So it's a way we want to encourage women to develop their sixth sense, and what better moment than midlife?
Interesting. That's really interesting. Yes. Can you tell us a little bit about the type of articles and features you have? And is there any particular one or a couple of articles that, or topics that maybe have come to mind that maybe were more controversial or interesting, or just the type of content that you feature?
Yes, we have several sections, from lifestyle to food and wine, including well-being, and another section, people, and which we interview several inspiring women. And well, our content might be something like how to look cool with your gray hair, to menopause rebranding, to trekking, or how body positivity, how to embrace your curves, and but we always trying to find the positive side of any story. So, I mean, even during our interview, we always want to highlight the best part of a personality. And nowadays there are a lot of negativity, and we want to tell to our readers that we want to show to our readers that midlife can be a colorful journey. So basically, this is a lifestyle magazine, right?
Yes.
So, I mean, we want to create let's say, a virtual playground where women can find inspiration, and that's probably the main our main goal. And of course, I mean, you can find a lot of featured topics, news, even real stories. So basically, we have a team of journalists, contributors, and some experts. We write even about finance, money, mindset, motivation, and also about style, or how to achieve confidence. So there are a mix and match of content. So sometimes they might be very light, sometimes they might be in-depth feature.
Right. And from your work with Crunchy Tales, what would you say are some of the most surprising things that you've learned about women in midlife that maybe has opened your mind to it, or you were surprised to learn?
Well, I wouldn't say that it's a surprise. Probably as a journalist, I don't know, it was something I was hoping to come across with my research. And I've realized that women are stronger than what they think. And also that in midlife, there is a kind of sisterhood, amongst women. When they are young, probably women are more in competition. But when they grow older, probably they realize that they might be sisters, they might help each other, but because probably they experience similar things. And this is the only way to improve our life.
Right. That's a really good point.
Yeah, I've been surprised by several women who just show me what I thought, that we are beyond the cardigans. So,
well, we also there to help each other, I think, and I've found that too in my work. Is
yeah.
we're all there to lift each other up. I hope that's the case, and I'm glad that that's what you found.
Yeah.
Rather than, you're right, and maybe when you're younger, you're more feeling a little bit more competitive or trying to get ahead. But then as you grow a little bit older, you have all this experience, and it's like, well, how can we help one another?
Yeah,
yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's really interesting. The other thing I often talk about with my guests is when we're at a certain stage and we want to maybe change or do something. We're been used to doing the same thing. Maybe we're in the same career for a long time or in a relationship, and we kind of feel stuck, and we want to change. We have something inside of us that's telling us that we should change, but we're feeling stuck. We don't know how to do it, or unsure of what to do next. Have you got any insights into that as to what you would advise women to do who are stuck?
Well, if they are stuck, I think that if they really feel low, if they really feel that it's becoming a huge problem, of course, they shouldn't be ashamed and they should ask for help. That's for sure. If it's not such a big issue, but it's more a moment of crisis, let's call that.
Mm-hmm.
They, of course, can start to dig around, learn from books, start to attend some course or some clubs, trying to find new energy from going out at their own pace. And probably this is the best way to find the new ideas too.
Yes.
But of course, every woman has is on a different journey and have a different pace. So every woman has a different pace. I mean, what works for me probably won't work for you.
Mm-hmm.
The only things I know for sure, as probably I mentioned before, is that anyway, you can do whatever you want, but until you won't be ready for that change, you will not change. What might help is to decide that you are enough, that you are okay with all your problems. I mean, it's not a big deal. We need to accept ourselves and
with all our imperfections, right?
Yeah, with our imperfections. Yes. So I'll tell you, the minute you start to love yourself, everything changes, because first of all, you don't care about what people think. And because you start to enjoying what really counts for you, what you really love. And so I think that probably those women feeling stuck is because they neglected themselves for too long.
Mm.
If they start to look after themselves, trying to have a bit of self-love, then maybe they can enjoy life again. But everyone has think that every woman has her own particular way to do that.
Mm.
Yeah, what worked for me was right. I'm sure that I can improve, and we still consider us a work in progress, of course.
Mm-hmm.
But there is a moment when you stop to listen other people advice. So even now, I'm not giving you an advice.
No, but it's so important what you're saying. Yes, I so agree with that, because we often, self-care, I think, is something that we're not, I mean, in North America, I think maybe it's different where you are, but when we take time for ourselves, often we feel guilty. It's like, oh, we shouldn't be doing that, or taking some time out for ourselves. But I think it's so important, and I am glad that you mentioned that, because especially at this stage. And
there is one thing that I found very empowering, probably, I don't know, because of my heritage.
Yes.
But I'll tell you what inspired me. I remember the first day of the year, several years ago, of course, I met up with some friends in a very cozy, cool restaurant in Rome. And we were happy to see each other, of course, starting a new year all together.
Yes.
But what caught my attention was a woman, probably in her 40, 45, having lunch on her own, and she wasn't miserable at all. She didn't feel alone. She was ordering champagne and oysters,
Nice.
and I don't know. I mean, good vibes came from her, and
Yes.
so I said, "Wow, a table for one. Why not? That could be a
Why not?
great empowering way for women who sometimes, feel shy to do things on their own. Sometimes there are some women who always need a friend, always need someone to help them to do whatever, even a lunch or a dinner. And that things was really, really inspiring.
Very empowering, and that's true. It's difficult to do that alone, but it's also it's like, why not enjoy your own company, right?
It was a kind of, yes, exactly, perfect,
Yes.
Kavita. Yes, you understood.
Yes.
But it was an empowering vision because she was eating and drinking expensive things, champagne and oysters.
Yes.
And
Yes.
she was just in a white t-shirt and jeans. I still remember her.
Interesting.
And it was a
Interesting.
very, very interesting moment.
I think that kind of leads into the fact that I think we as women, I don't know what your thoughts are, but I believe that especially now, I think we have a greater voice and more confidence than possibly ever before.
Yeah.
And I wanted to get your thoughts on this last year and almost a half now, where we've been living through COVID. Firstly, how has it changed your business? But secondly, do you think that women or people in general through this pandemic, have they had the opportunity really to look more inwards and have different views of themselves and be able to really think about what is they want to contribute to the world? And has it changed?
Well, yes and no. I think that probably lots of people have started to look inwards. Of course, they had more time to do that.
Yes.
And of course, thanks to all these platforms like Zoom, Skype, WhatsApp, etc., there was a chance to expand your connections. I'm sure a lot of women start to explore new opportunities internationally thanks to all these platforms. So, but I think that we should look at constantly improving ourselves, not just because of COVID, but despite of. Self-love is for life, not just for lockdown.
Yes, yes. So true. Yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, the best way to nurture your dreams and your second chapter, the second chapter of your life, of course, is to spend time with crunchy days.
Yes, of course. And it seems as though you were ahead of your time with the online magazine, right? So,
well, the thing is that I think that knowledge is power. So if a woman in her 40s, 50s, 60s want to go back in the game, let's say that, needs to be updated, needs to stay in the know. And so with our magazine, what we want to do is to inspire them, but also being a source of information. So we give them several options, and then they can decide what to do when they grow up. So the fact that also our team is made by an international group of women. Well, I hope that this is the best way to help our readers to have a wide perspective about midlife, about what's going on around the world.
Yes.
And of course, I was lucky enough to have this talent artist working with me. So it's a way to enhance the idea that midlife is a colorful journey.
Yes, I was actually going to ask you, where are most of your contributors? Where are they coming from? Are they from all around the world? And it sounds like they are.
Yeah. Especially our illustrator. For instance, we had several illustrators. Now Veronica Nicolai is our art director, and she has joined us recently. And Crunchy Tales illustration come from different artists, and each artist has expressed their own vision of middle-aged women, at times playful, witty, or sophisticated. Veronica, a very talented artist, inject a bit of glamour to our look and feel. Nice. Let's say that. Yeah.
Yes, that's wonderful. And we'll definitely have all the links to the magazine and to you in our show notes for anybody listening. And I just think that your story and the magazine is just so inspirational, and it really would encourage everyone to listen to it, to read it, and to seek it out. But is there any last words or any thoughts that you have, Michela, before?
Yes, for sure. I believe that pasta and Prosecco are the Italian answer to Botox. So it's better to enjoying life than the best way to grow older is to enjoying life. So.
Oh, you're a woman after my own heart. I love those.
Plus, there is nothing that a good slice of pizza can cure. So go out, have a lovely pizza, and yes, you can have even Prosecco and pizza.
Oh, absolutely. And maybe next time I'm in Rome, we'll come and visit.
Yes.
Oh, thank you so much, Michela. It's just been an honor. And
you're welcome.
Thank you for sharing your inspiration. And again, I would encourage everyone listening to please check out crunchytales.com. Yeah, and there sounds like there's some really great, it's a very interesting format, and we can learn a lot from each other and from all the great contributors you have, and appreciate your time again so much.
No, thank you. You're very welcome. I really enjoying talking to you. And you see, it's great. We are living so far from each other, but yes. I feel you closer than my next neighbors, you know?
Yes, it's funny. That's as you were mentioning that, how the world is, the opportunities with these platforms. It's amazing. I feel the same way. I've met incredible people like yourself all over the world, and it's very inspiring. And it's almost feels like we're smaller and smaller.
Yeah,
world.
But it's important. It's important that we all team up in some ways, because I believe there is still an aura of frumpiness around the concept of middle age. And the only way to challenge these stereotypes is to change the narrative. So podcasts like yours and a magazine like Crunchy Tales maybe can make the difference.
Yes, and you're making a great difference. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye-bye. Ciao.
I hope you enjoyed this episode with Michela di Carlo as much as I did. Her zest for life is infectious, and we can learn so much from her carefree and beautiful outlook on life. I'd encourage you all to read Crunchy Tales, as she is really on a mission to reset the meaning of middle age, one story at a time. Her words and humor remind us that life is too short not to enjoy. Here are her key takeaways. Number 1, there is an aura of frumpiness around middle age, and the only way to challenge the stereotype is to change the narrative. We, as middle-aged women, are much more than golf tournaments, apple pies, and cashmere cardigans. Number 2, you always have obstacles in your journey if you are on a mission to improve yourself. Number 3, the only thing I know for sure is that until you're ready for change, you won't change. We need to accept ourselves with all our imperfections. 4, maybe elsewhere your talents and skills will be appreciated, even if they are not in your immediate environment. What we see as failures may seem different in other areas of the world. 5, midlife is a time of renaissance, not a time of winding down. Midlife can be a colorful journey. 6, we should look at constantly improving ourselves, not because of COVID, but despite of it. Self-love is for life, not just for lockdown. 7, the minute you start to love yourself, everything changes. We sometimes neglect ourselves for too long. 8, a table for one? Why not? Enjoy your own company. 9, I believe pasta, Prosecco, and pizza are the Italian answers to Botox. The best way to grow older is to enjoy life. And number 10, which is my favorite, we need to celebrate our successes with a good ice cream and a Prosecco. Thanks for listening to the Midlife Reinvention. I love bringing stories from incredible women all over the world. It really reminds me how small the world is and how we need to support and encourage each other on our journeys. I also wanted to remind you that the doors are closing this week to my signature program, It's My Time Now, How to Rediscover Yourself in Midlife. If you feel stuck or unsure what to do in the next stage of your life, the 6-week pilot program provides a curated roadmap for you based on my own experience to help you get unstuck. You'll be provided with the tools, exercises, resources, a weekly group call with like-minded women, accountability partners, and a free 1-hour coaching session with me. We have a few spots left, so if you're interested, email me at kavita@powerpurposeplay.ca. I have put all my learnings, which took me from my lowest point in my life to a life of meaning and purpose, and into this course, and I'd love to share it with you and how I just did that. Don't forget to share, rate, and review this podcast if you love it and want to spread the word. Until next time, cheers, and don't forget to celebrate yourself in whatever way pleases you. I might just do that right now with a glass of Prosecco. Take care.